Right over here, we've got the Rotel RA1572, and what a beauty she is. If you're just looking to do stereo music listening, I don't know if there's anything better out there. This thing is just a monster. It's got a ton of power, and there's a variety of ways you can connect to it. You got Bluetooth, your standard USB, digital inputs. You can connect to it in a variety of ways, but it's really what the sound that comes out of this thing that's just fantastic. Leave it balanced. You don't have to play with the EQ. Plug your speakers in, and it just becomes alive for music. And it's not to say that I had garbage here before. Primarily in the past, I was listening to music through the Marantz receiver onto the speakers. Now, Marantz is a great receiver, but I feel like it's just underpowered and it can't push the drivers or just can't feed everything away the way that it needs to be fed. So the Rotel, what a beauty. I mean, I can't describe the happiness I had after just putting that thing into my setup. If I really want to go just audio nuts and listen to the best quality stereo music that I can find, it's directly connected to the Rotel, and the Rotel is connected to the speakers. Done. Enjoy the audio beauty. Now, there is a downside to this puppy, and it's really not even much of a downside because it does everything so well, you don't really need to play around with it. But anyway, the menu is cumbersome on the remote. It's just the on-screen with a little display. It's nothing fancy. You don't get a nice on-screen display. That being said, though, initially it was a bit of a turnoff for me, but now I see why it kind of is that way. You don't need to play with this receiver. Just send it audio signals and let it just make things great for you for listening. Now, price-wise, it's not the most economical thing out there, but if you're any kind of serious audio nut or you want good stereo music, just wait till you got the cash. I think right now they're around $2,000. Get this thing, and I mean, when you can make a just run-of-the-mill big box Polk speaker sound lovely, imagine what this thing would do with a good quality set of speakers. And now that's the inspiration for this whole channel of custom speaker building. I look at what a really good speaker would sound like, or what I imagine a really good speaker would sound like, because the night and day difference that happened when I added this component was just mind-blowing. And that's not only to say that you just have to use this thing for stereo listening. A lot of the time, I will have the Marantz hooked into it as well. And if I'm watching a movie, it's just acting kind of as an amp through an auxiliary port on the back for a boost for my primary speaker drivers in the front. And the Marantz receiver did a great job of setting that up, so no issues there with the stereo left and right channels because they're getting a lot more power than the other channels, drowning out the rest. I don't know, that worked out great as well. So I've got a good setup now for home theater. I don't really have a whole lot of complaints there, but for me to fully put this thing to use, it really just needs some good speakers. When the Uglis 420 and company does a better job than the Polk audio speakers, imagine if I knew what I was doing from a first and second project speaker or a first and expanded project speaker build. If I put something really nice on here, I can't wait. That is coming up at some point. Anyway, there's my rant about it. If you're on the fence about it, I love it. I've heard a lot of different audio drivers, both from audiophile stores. The big box stuff is just not going to hold a candle to this thing. Honestly, one speaker, the home built that I made on a mono channel, one channel, sounds better than anything that I've ever heard from a big box. So food for thought on how lovely this unit is. I'm not getting paid. I'm not getting any commission. It's probably sounding like I'm getting some kind of a kickback for this. I'm not getting anything for saying this. I'm ecstatic about it. It's awesome. I love it. If you can do it and you want crazy good stereo audio, it's just going to make everything come alive. Get that thing first if you've already got towers, or even if you've got a semi-decent set of bookshelf speakers. Start there for stereo listening. I don't think you'd regret it. I think you'd be hard-pressed to find something that's going to sound better. Definitely not for the price range, but even by spending quite a bit more money. There's my Rotel RA1572. She's a beauty. Rotel, you made a winner. Keep it coming. I love it. Next up on the channel, I'm going to be going over the cheapest subwoofer I've ever bought. And it was just to fill in the blank while I got some warranty work done on my main sub. And it turns out this cheap sub, I think it's 200 bucks, became my main, and I absolutely love it. It's still, provided you're not pushing this thing to the teeth, it's still my favorite home subwoofer, kind of. Anyway, there'll be a review coming up on that in whatever, when I get around to it. That'll be the next video. I'll pop it off on the side here whenever that's done. Anyway, hopefully that was beneficial to some, or to those thinking about getting the Rotel. It's a lot of money for me to sink into. The guy that recommended it to me, he's a good audio nut, and I trust his opinion, and I'm so glad I did. Enough ranting. We'll catch you again next time.